everybody! This is the #1 Potato Bus, bringing you a MogPod set review. This one all about the wind element. I've got with me here Chris.
Hello.
Jared.
Hi there.
Kevin.
Greetings.
And a very special guest. He was a world competitor, Cardiff Winter Cup 3rd place, Milan Cup winner, Octagon winner, and Octagon runner-up in the most latest tournament, Joshua Freeman-Birch. How are you, Joshua?
Fine, thanks. Thank you for having me on.
Pleasure to have you.
That was a very lengthy title.
Yes, that sounds like a CV.
Also, King of the Andals and the First Men, or is that up for grabs still?
That's only on weekends.
Gotcha.
Okay, so let's get straight into this set review. Chris, do you want to tell us about a rating system?
Yeah, sure. So if anyone hasn't seen it before, we've got a 5-point rating system as a base. So we rate a card on how good it is just in a vacuum without considerations of its synergies for any other cards. But we make small allowances, for example, a Searcher or something that relies on, say, a Sign of the Seventh Dawn. We assume that's at least supported in the same deck. So a 1 is basically unplayable, it shouldn't be in a deck, and if you draw it's not really going to have any impact at all. A 2 is it also probably shouldn't be in your deck, it's not that powerful, but if you draw it, it will at least have impact. And a 3 is, now it could be in a deck, it might be one of the weaker options, or it just might be more niche in general. A 4 is a powerful card, these are the cards that you're actually cutting from decks probably, or strongly considering. And then a 5 is a card that if it's in a deck that can support it, like basically the same element, then you have to be asked, why aren't you playing this deck? This card? It's really, really powerful. In addition to that, we have a synergy system where we give a card an additional +0, +1, or +2, depending on how good the card is once we account for synergies. If we're actually building a deck around it, or we're putting it in a deck that really, really supports it incidentally even, then the card score can be bumped up by an additional 2 points maximum. So actually our highest possible score is really like a 7 in brackets, but that's extremely rare.
Very few cards have gotten that.
Yeah. So Kevin, do you want to start us off?
Okay, so right off the bat, we have 2-cost summon called it's called Asura. It's an EX burst, and it is choose one forward you control, activate it, and negate all damage dealt to it, draw 1 card.
Yeah, it's pretty...
It's very
plus.
Plus heal.
Plus heal, yeah. Like it's just so people are not confused. This doesn't negate the next damage that dealt to that forward. It essentially heals them.
Yeah, it removes all damage that's already on the card.
Okay, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, what do you think about this, Josh?
I think that this card is not a card that I'm going to be playing in my winter decks.
Yeah,
Fairy's not really a card that people play in their water decks very frequently. Yep. Maybe some people play 1 or 2 if they really struggle against ice, but like
that's true. And in wind, you've already got plentiful activation.
Yeah, wind has much better options.
Wind has better options.
But the other thing is
the point of difference is the second line of text, right?
Yeah,
like that's
that's
what sets it apart from other effects that we've other work.
When I opened this in the pre-release and I hadn't seen the card before, I thought it meant prevent the damage. I was like,
because if it is prevent the next damage, that's completely.
And then it doesn't say until end of turn as well. I was like, what are they? Just forever moving forward.
Any kind of deck built around
preventing max damage. That'd be hilarious.
Any kind of deck built around compound damage isn't going to want to see these. I'm not sure how prevalent
you can
those
only
will be in the next
negate
environment.
once.
Well, what you do is, like, say you've got an Istula on the other side of the field that's slowly pinging up all your things. You wait until they've done almost the full amount, and then you Azura.
And then they just respond.
Then you respond with the Ishtola on top of the Azura.
Well, I mean, at a point at which it would be
like halfway
relevant to do it. Yeah.
When they play a bots, so all their backups are tapped down.
When their resources are fewer than they otherwise would be.
I still don't think.
When I look at this card, I'm like, am I playing this or am I playing Sylph? Like I never seen Sylph in many decks, but I put it in a few, and when it was in those kind of decks, Sylph actually put a lot of work. Yeah, just as like a 1-drop activate buff your guys. But
I think that's mostly the buff your guys.
Yeah, but like that also instantly activates your forward.
The combination is quite good.
Yeah,
it's quite nice.
Yeah, but like comparing it to this is not so good.
As an EX burst, if you've blocked with something already, it's now a fresh blocker. It can block something again.
True.
Like say I blocked something, then I I took the damage and received this. You've still got an attacker, now I've got another blocker.
It's
Fair enough.
So
I still think
there's I think niche instances wherein this is maybe better than the other options.
I mean, it has to be for it to be a different card.
Yeah.
It's true that there are times where you can use a blocker twice, but it's not very often that you're blocking 2 separate attacks with the same forward without some other combat trick on top.
Yeah.
That's true, yeah. So we'll give this, what, a 2?
Yeah, I'd say a 2.
Yeah, 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2. And next card, Jared, do you want to tell us about this card?
Sure, it's a 3-cost forward called Adelle. She's 5k, has haste, and has wind. Adelle cannot be blocked this turn. And she's also from Final Fantasy Tactics A2.
Which is becoming, I guess, pretty relevant category.
This
Like,
is the
there's two
only
things, like-
unconditionally unblockable forward.
Yeah,
That is right, yeah.
That's true. There is a searcher
it's-
for A2 as well,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And it's worth it, like, honestly, like, to pay 4 CP, deal damage, have it deal 5k. Would you do that? I don't know, you know what I'm saying?
You don't even need to. You potentially don't even need to pay the 4th CP when she's played. You can play her into an empty field, and your opponent knows whatever forward they retort with. If the card isn't handling Adelle itself, if it's just there to block, it's not going to do anything.
That's true.
Yeah.
They need to draw hard removal for her.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's very strong, and you have Luso to kind of search for it faster if you ever need to.
Yeah, you definitely like remove her or lose in 7 turns. It's essentially the clock she puts you on.
But she's 5k, and that's pretty easy to remove.
But for this kind of effect, I think it needs to be
It
quite
does.
weak.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's 5k. It's outside of the range of certain 2-drop ice card. Makes me a bit sad, but it's still very strong. No, that makes it very strong, sorry. Even if it was 4k, it would still be strong. Just having a thing that can attack every turn without any real repercussions
Yeah.
is just good. Even has haste.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of the Final Fantasy Tactics effects. 2 characters have haste, or forwards rather. I'm wondering if there'll be some sort of, make a wind lightning aggressive deck with them around the corner.
I think there's something
That
there.
could be neat.
There's definitely something there.
So what would we give this card?
5.
5. Ooh.
So if you're in
That's
wind,
that's if you put it in your wind deck. That's if you're playing wind, you're playing this card, right? That's
Yes.
5.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, 5.
oh,
Oh, interesting.
I didn't have it rated that highly.
Wait,
in
so
my
so
mind.
would you like to say that you're playing the traditional water wind YRP combo? You would find a space for this one?
I mean, you could play Pain and her in the same turn.
Yeah,
Seems
that's pretty
good.
strong.
That's all right.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well, right,
And
better question.
YRP.
Are there any wind decks we can think of where we wouldn't want this card?
Well, I mean, Windwater is probably the one that would least want it,
Yeah.
because as a body, she's really fragile.
I don't see
And
myself...
Zidane.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Keep going.
And Zidane is a better, just kind of 3-drop on its own in terms of trying to impact what your opponent can and cannot do. But Windwater does lack finishing power, and Adelle does give them a forward that can attack every single turn, no matter what.
Yeah,
So you can
definitely.
focus on defense as long as you have her.
I was thinking, like, even in an Earth Wind mill deck, if you're attacking them, you're making them mill 1. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Fair enough.
It's still
Yeah,
pretty
the
relevant,
wind
yeah.
that you would otherwise spend on your Riku is
Yeah.
spent on
Adele.
this.
Yeah. And
Earth,
has-
Wind, and Mill.
Yeah, like I'm
With this-
I'm trying to think of a deck where you wouldn't run this in wind deck.
And Wind did.
Uh,
And
just-
even then it's good, you know?
You'd suddenly go from Earth and Mill to Earth Wind. I might get you with all these thieves on an Adelle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We can
I'm okay with 5.
Yeah.
Maybe 4.
I'm more inclined to go 4 because she's very vulnerable. Like most removal can deal with a 5k,
Yeah, fire will have very easy time.
and like if a card dies for free to VV, it's like, that makes me feel like it's not. You're going to consider when building the deck the weaknesses of the cards you have. I think she may be slightly too fragile.
If you have spent 3 CP and hit your opponent to deal a damage, and then they use VV on your 5,000 power forward.
He's talking about the backup VV.
3 drop.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
backup
the
VV.
2-drop backup VV.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd be a bit more sad. I'd be a bit.
But even the
sad.
forward, like it was a like it's. I don't consider the power that it's killing, but the CP cost that it's killing, and like you're spending 3 to kill 3 CP, and then you're left with the thing.
But he's already got value.
The 3's already hit you.
Yeah, he's already got value off
Three's
that
already
thing.
hit you.
Yeah,
Because if you want to stop it from hitting you have to use a summon, which is naturally at least 1 for 1.
Yeah.
It also, like, 5k puts her in the range of a lot of EX bursting damage effects.
I feel like
That's also true.
Like, that's... Is it worth it if she dies immediately? That's the real question. That's the crux of the
free.
argument.
Oh, we're getting into Dice to Doomplay territory.
Yeah, I'm not trying to make that argument, but like if it's very easy to kill in this game for relatively little cost, it's more impactful than the Dice to Doomplay argument.
That is true.
I think she should still be in the deck. Say your opponent sees 1 copy of her in the graveyard, they can never go to 6 damage.
That's true.
That's
They
true.
have to play as if they're on 6 on 5.
Or they have to have hard removal
Yeah.
on their hand.
Yeah, in hand, and playing
okay.
efficiently.
Yeah. This is a
Yeah, cool.
this is a huge pressure.
That's why I think I think we like she's fragile enough to keep her out of the 5 slot. Is my
Okay.
call.
I'm okay with 4 or 5. She's probably 4.5, but I think we should just say 4.
But this conversation definitely opened my eyes that I see her a lot higher than I did initially. Because I was looking at the 5 for 3 so much. But yeah,
everyone
like,
okay with 4?
She'll almost always actually she'll get value
Okay.
immediately, right? Like she'll do a damage.
She ought to.
Like
yeah.
she almost always will, or she'll do a 1 for 1.
The only instances wherein she wouldn't is if you're being strangled out of your resources.
Last argument
Four,
for 5.
4 is okay because I don't think I would play 2 of her in a deck. Sorry, 3 of her in a deck.
Yeah.
I'd play 2.
I think
Sure.
2 is still 5 cat.
Yeah.
You can still like 5 rated cats can still just be 2-ups. They don't have to be play sets. But so if that's the only reason you go down to 4, then it's still a 5.
She's... Okay, okay. Well, I mean, 4.55, something high. Okay,
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
high for
5.5, we'll do
5,000 power
4.5.
3 drop.
We'll go with 5 because we can defer to your experience more as well. So
Okay,
let's go to
that's
5.
Oh, then the synergy score. I believe that she gets 0.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
The
like, no,
only
wait, what do you
synergy
think?
she has in Wind is with the Luso,
Yeah.
and with No making her effect cost essentially 0.
Yeah. Which isn't really too big of a boost.
And that's more the other 2 cards.
That's
that
correct,
work.
yeah.
Not so much Adele.
Although,
Yeah.
is it going to be scary? I've just thought against that Wind Lightning deck because it can like search this.
Yeah, it's pretty
That deck's scary. That deck's really angry. So
Yeah.
forwards. They haste and deal damage.
So
Yeah.
much haste.
Angry.
Where's
Yeah.
my Shentozo?
Hey, but this
That's too late.
Adele-
Shintoko shows up way too
What's
late.
Shentoto doing? There's that newish Tower card.
yeah. Anyway,
Okay,
moving
next
on.
card. Chris, do you want to tell us about this card?
Yeah, sure. So this is Aria from Type 0. She costs 4. She's a Type 0 card, backup. When Aria enters the field, draw 1 card, and she has an ability Dull, choose on forward. During this turn, the next damage dealt to it is reduced by 1,000 instead. I don't think this
not
card
worth
is
No.
like I don't think
It's
it's
not worth
because
It's not very impressive.
when you get 4 CP and drawing a card, it's basically saying replace a card in your hand with a random card from your deck. Like,
That's
and
probably not worth it.
that's
Well, you can decide that, but yeah, generally.
I don't think that's worth. And then
And the
On the
ability
field.
is just kind of meh.
Yeah. Wind has much better backups to play.
They're
I mean,
better-
Asura can negate the damage better than this one can, right?
I mean,
She was.
in Limited, for the pre-releases, this card was definitely a tier 0 card. But
Yeah,
now
yeah.
we're talking about
yes.
actual decks.
Yeah.
It's not, like, none of its text is bad. It's just not particularly good.
It's
Yeah.
kind of clunky, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
clunky's definitely
Which is
the word for
kind
it.
of how that character is in the game, if I remember.
Yeah.
She's just clumsy and
I think this sounds like it's putting it into a pretty solid 3.
Really?
Where like it's not. Everything,
Oh,
it's
no,
not
I think it's a
bad.
2.
I think it's a
just
2.
not like.
You
Nah, I
don't
think
want
she's
to
the
put
only
her in
Type
the-
0 backup from the set that other than Satuna that isn't searchable with the headmaster as well.
Oh yeah, it's not.
So like
she's not.
she's nerfed out of being a cadet.
Yeah, yeah.
That's so weird. Oh man.
She's not any kind of cadet.
Yeah, she's just an orderly.
Makes Bart an orderly.
But
That's why she exists.
orderly Odin
But
princess.
I really think it's a 2. Like,
Yeah.
no one's really gonna play
I
this.
do
Two
willing
and
to
move
give
on.
it 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 move on.
I'm not willing to split.
She doesn't even have synergy with the other cadet cards. The only card she has synergy with in the cadets is Rem, but
Yep.
Yep.
Rem is
Yeah.
every type 0 card you can get back, so like
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, this isn't the card you want to get back anyway.
Yeah.
I pay a 4 CP backup to get another 4 CP backup.
Yeah.
Oh.
Amazing. Okay, next card. Josh, do you want to tell us about this card?
Okay, so Arc from my favorite game, 3.
Oh, really? That's
He's a
interesting.
forward. Yeah, he's a hero. Forward. Has 7,000 power. So, and the Job Warrior of Light and Wind forwards other than Arc, you can short gain 1,000 power. If you're a Wind forward and a Warrior of Light, you'll still only get 1,000.
That's correct. Yeah.
You can dial a total of 3 active Wind forwards or backups. Choose one forward. It cannot be blocked by a forward of cost 3 or more this turn. So Arc is an absolutely insane card, right?
Yeah.
Yep, I think so too. Similar reasoning to
It's-
Adele.
Yeah.
Start with the mono wind archetype. You didn't really necessarily want to play Maria because you were just paying 1 more CP for your Anthem card. And, I mean, you didn't really have any reason to want to do that. It was just kind of sad to pay 4 CP for
Yeah.
That
an
is
effect
correct.
that every other mono deck pays 3 for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Arc is in line with the other Warrior of Lights, and then you still cost 3 CP. And one of the sad things is that Arc is already a good backup for the
Yeah.
He is. He's
Yeah.
actually a very good backup.
Wait, Ark is a
so
he.
I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, I always thought Ark was a she.
Although,
I always said she.
Although
I
the
haven't
feminine
played
face.
So, okay.
I think Refi is the only.
Okay.
the only
Yeah,
girl.
that's
yeah,
correct.
Refi is the only girl.
Okay.
So-
I didn't think Ingus.
So unlike Ingus, Lunith, and Refia, who don't really have other cards to compete with in the card, well, I mean, Ingus kind of has to compete with himself. The other one is still playable, but Refia and Lunith are just kind of bad cards. Arc actually has to compete with himself. But with the effect, that has some really nice inbuilt synergies with Wind.
It does. It
Like,
does.
for instance,
Like, imagine
You're able
making
to
everything
use-
a Yuffie. Like,
that's obviously
insane.
strong.
And I
You
think-
can use, like, for instance, No makes the effect only cost 2, for example, instead of
That's
3.
correct.
Also, you can do stuff with Barts and Oracle, where you'll make, like, 4 things unblockable in your main phase 1,
Yeah.
and hit them.
I think all of these Warrior of
Just kill
Lights.
That's actually insane.
Yeah, because you just double your forwards, double a couple backups, then you play Barts, get it all back, do it all again.
Yep. And then
And
make
then
like
you
4
just-
guys unblockable attack.
Ding 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 jackpot.
This like makes
Gives
me
you
less
a lot of
excited about
finishing
my
power.
No Zima stick.
Yeah.
Because now I don't have to.
You don't even need Zemus.
You don't even need
Yeah.
Zemus.
So,
That's fair enough. Yeah.
It
I think is one of the best Warrior of Light of this cycle.
It did just occur to me that
They're all good, though.
you can make a title series deck where they all buff each other. Like they get +4 or +3.
Wait. Why does it have to be title series? I've made a full Warrior of Light deck. I've made it, and it was okay. It was okay. I ran Ultima and, like...
Yeah, sure,
all
sure,
the
Mariah.
two
You
drops.
can do that. You can do that. The rest of us will play our
they're
mono
putting
decks.
in the tools to at least support that idea, like with the
Yeah.
light wall
Yeah, that's
and
correct.
things as
Yeah.
well, at least.
But yeah, this definitely really supports a mono win strategy, and this might be what it needs because mono win couldn't really close things,
It
games
needed
out
something
before.
to finish
Yeah.
finish the game with.
Yeah,
And
because you either play
That's
small
really
guys and get board wiped, or you play big guys and can't get
The
through.
only mono win deck that really threw out was the Candy Center Mill. And it didn't even mill, it just waited until
Yeah, it just
you
waited.
milled yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And so this might make mono wind an archetype, so to say. But yeah, I would say it's a 4+1.
That's my intuition as well. Because like in that mono it's a 5.
So,
there's definitely 5
but
points
it's
there.
only going to go in mono wind.
Well,
True. So like
no,
three
not
plus
necessarily. If you just flash this, you could just have your 2 backups dull arc and make a guy unblockable.
That's right.
That's not
Yeah.
terrible.
It's not terrible.
Dulling 3
Like-
wind characters isn't hard.
Like
Yeah.
when you compare it to Refia has to 5.
Yeah, Refia has 5.
So
which-
Refia is really a mono
Like-
water.
Cactua
But this one
is-
just 3 is fine.
Cactua has
Okay.
a wind character as well. Right?
What?
Cactua has a wind character.
No,
Oh.
you can only dull
No, no, no,
forwards
it's
or
before-
backwards.
it says
forwards
forwards
or
or backwards.
Back.
Yeah,
Sorry, I misspoke
Yeah.
before.
Okay.
Yeah, what do you think, Josh? 4 plus 1 is fair?
Or 3 plus 2.
I think it's weird because in the mono wind deck, it's definitely a 5, pushing for like a 6. But in wind with other colors, it's more probably not going to see play. Because in wind water, you're just going to play the backup arc instead.
Probably, yeah.
So that's a 3 plus 2. to
Yeah.
me.
So
Yeah, sure.
That's
Yeah.
3 plus 2.
That's
sounds like a 3+2.
Yeah.
3 plus 2.
Move
Okay. Next card. Kevin, do you want to tell us about this card?
Oh god, I have to read the essay. So this is a 4-cost Mobius backup called Echo. It's an EX burst, and it reads, when Echo enters the field, select up to 2 of the 4 following actions. Choose 1 forward activated, choose 1 backup other than Echo activated, look at the top card of your deck, you may place it at the bottom, and draw 1 card. All in that order.
Well, this is a 4-cost backup.
But
Well,
it's better than the other one.
it can be a 1-cost backup.
Yeah. I really like this card.
It EXs.
I can see
Yeah, it
it
also
going
makes it just
in a
nice.
deck where you really just want to tempo out. You can play a 2-cost backup, play this, activate the 2-cost backup, then play a 1-cost backup. That gets you up to 3 backups.
I love how many modal cards were in this set. There's this, there's Varn, there's Wall, there's...
Yeah.
there's
All the
heaps.
summons.
Also,
all the
importantly,
movies.
it allows Bats now to be a fairy princess.
You finally have
Or
a fairy
a
forward.
fairy queen.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you
very
think
big
about this,
buff.
Josh?
A huge buff.
In Wind Lightning, it's actually perfect because you are able to go back up, Echo, untap, then play Sid of Gully, Sid of Clan Gully,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that gets you either Adelle or Illua to play next turn on 3 backups and secure yourself as being the first on board dealing the damage.
Yeah.
So the card has some really niche uses like that when you're able to utilize the choose 1 backup, activate it. When you're not using the choose a backup, activate or forward activate, the card's a bit it's not great.
It is
But
different.
when you're able to utilize those effects, it's a very strong card.
I think
it's
the
definitely
only-
early tempo.
The only reason why this would be like a 3 card is because of the EX burst.
You
If
could-
it didn't EX, I would never consider
yeah,
you
it.
could
'cause,
increase your
you
EX density.
you can put 3 of it in your deck because you want to see it as early as possible because you want to tempo out. And like incidentally, it's an EX, so even if you put a 3, it's not terrible
Yeah.
in your deck.
For me, what attracts me to it is I want to make a No-No Zemus deck for Opus 5 with Sarah to find No-No and Camelot to find Zemus. And this helps find pieces as well with like Scry 1.
Gets you closer to your combo bits.
Draw. And it's, even if you just like Scry 1 and draw and it costs 2, it's a 2-cost backup that did its thing, at least. Not as good as the 1 cost, but it did dig me closer to what I was looking
You have to
for.
choose both actions at the same time.
I know.
So yeah, you
But
can't really like look
it'll
at it.
always get me 2 cards closer if I choose those 2, right? And
No, because you put it back on top of the deck. Oh, put it
If
you want to draw it.
I'll either get to it or get 2 cards closer.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then incidentally, it's got the other options which could be useful as well. Like I could just use like tempo with it, for example, with the activated backup.
Or you can activate it forward.
And
to
who
block.
knows, activated forward might actually be relevant at some point. It's just nice to have that effect, especially on an EX.
Yeah.
So you guys think it's a 3 card?
Yeah, I think it's...
Happily go to 3.
Yeah.
Wait, the 3?
3, I feel.
It's
I
a
actually
EX.
feel like it's powerful.
3, I feel. Just because it's just without that EX burst sign, that card is just dreadful, right?
I actually quite like it. But if everyone is going to
feels
3,
nice.
it's a consensus.
I-
So we'll go 3.
I like it as well, but I don't think it's strong enough to be a 4.
Okay.
It's not a 4, it's not a 4.
Okay.
It's a 3, I feel happy with. The
Next,
synergy aspect of it, though, is it like 0?
it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's 3 plus 0.
There's nothing particular.
Jared, do you want to tell us in this card?
Sure thing. We've got a 2-cost backup called a Ranger, and it reads: Dull, put Ranger into the break zone, choose 1 monster of cost 2 or less, and break it. Nice, straightforward.
Do you guys
killer
think
monster
this
thing.
will see play?
if the monsters you play.
Well, like you can look at it this way. Like you think, is there a backup I really must kill? And that's like for Archer, right? And is there a
Archer's
monster
a
I really
staple.
must? Is it like now with new backups coming in? Like you could say like I mean killing power boosters is good, but if there's no like backup you're particularly worried about, but there's monsters you're worried about. Then you can play Ranger.
I mean, you can run both.
What I like about this is you can play it out earlier if you're thinking you're going to come up against those standstill monsters, the grenade, the buckaboo, the
Black
hill
Knight.
giant, the black knight, and it takes care of those without you having to really lose anything.
You have to lose a backup.
Yeah, you lose
That's
this
fine.
instead of whatever your opponent wants you to lose.
It's got the nice aspect of being an FFTA2 card for Luso to hit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So you would put it in just for that?
Yeah.
you need the density
I mean,
of FFTA.
There's another great FFTA2 card, which we'll be doing, which is the next card we'll look at. But
Yeah.
if you want more Rangers of Prime candidate, the issue is a lot of the monsters that got released were 4-drops and stuff. So I'm not sure how good it is to break at 2 cost or less. Because what are you really hitting with it? There's Chocobo, maybe. There's
In
There's
terms of things that already exist,
Flans are worth hitting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Flanding.
Ghoul, dragon.
Oh, in our
Dragon, you
local
just
environment,
respawn, you don't
I play
kill
Ghoul
dragon.
a lot.
Yeah, Dragon they just respond by killing, or they just, I mean, maybe they just deserve to lose if you have a Ranger and they go, I'm just going to play a Dragon. It seems like a good investment.
Yeah.
So I think Flan is the main one that you would be hitting with this card. And that is a really strong, don't get me wrong, that's a super strong interaction.
Yeah. Oh, the one that makes you both discard a card.
Gesper?
Guess.
Oh, that thing! Yeah.
That's a
That
pain.
is that a good card? Is that?
I mean,
I think we rated it as
Possibly.
good
Yeah, I think-
because
the
the
discussions
the
were-
ice player gets to choose if they're like they know if they're either discarding something useless or just not discarding anything at all because they've got an empty hand.
Does Sidlstein let you pick, and then if you have no
Yes, he
cards,
does.
it breaks?
Yeah.
So you can play him,
and
Yeah.
respond.
empty your hand, then use the effect.
Yeah, you
Okay. That's
Yeah.
some.
This does have a lot of targets, and if you get this down
These are
early,
nice.
it disincentivizes them from playing the monster, so it just gives you natural protection that way.
But
Similar
I
to the
think
way that
overall,
was-
though, this is just like going to be a pretty meta-dependent card. If you,
Yeah.
there are lots of standstill monsters. You just
it's
put
like
this
the summoner from the previous set from Opus 5,
Yeah.
4.
where this does compare unfavorably to Archer is your opponent will almost always have backups. They won't
Whether-
necessarily
yeah.
always have monsters. Oh, there's Bunker Beast as well in Lightning.
Yeah.
Do you think Bunker Beast is a good card? I'm not.
When we did the review, it was.
I mean,
We gave it like 2+2.
Okay.
Bunker
They're-
Beast
they're-
is a really good card when you don't have to pay two CP to get it.
Yeah,
right,
when it's
right.
just on the board already.
When you
like-
get it with the starter card.
Yeah,
The starter
Ranger.
card.
Ranger. And
You
you
pull it with that, then it's a really good card. But when you actually have to pay 2 CP for that card, I don't know if I want to pay 2
you can
CP.
also bring it back with Azul, can't you?
Azul or Gal.
Yeah.
Azul, Gal, and Sidwoff.
Yeah.
No, I don't know that you want to be bringing it back with
You
Sidwoff.
can
Oh yeah, this is an anti-Sid Wolf.
Like it's our discussion about Bunker Beast was that it's like the damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario for your opponent. If you're attacking with something with a horrible on hit or on attack effect, usually ice cards, but also like Twilight Odin, for example, then it's like I can't block, and I lose value if I don't block.
Getting back to Ranger, it
What
can
would we give this?
So because it depends on the meta, we forgot to mention in our rating system we have a star as well, and star is for hate cards, where it changes depending on the meta that's around you, and so usually hate cards it's not a rule, but they usually end up as like a 2-star.
Yeah.
because they're just not really something you put in your deck. And
But
it's, you know,
different, they're rated low, but are definite considerations.
Yeah.
So
I think
Okay.
2 stars fine with this one.
Yeah.
But does that account for the FFTA2 part of it, like a 2?
That's why it's a 2 instead of a 1.
okay, that's fair enough.
And it gets a point in No, it doesn't get any
No.
points.
That's getting too technical.
All right.
Okay. Next card, Chris, do you want to tell us?
Yeah, so this one's Thief. It's a 2-drop backup from Tattoo, and it's got Wind, Dull, put Thief into the break zone. Your opponent reveals his or her hand. Select one character card from their hand. Your opponent discards this card. That card, I guess. You can only use this ability during your turn.
Now that's a good 2-drop.
Yeah, that is a good 2-drop. It's very interesting how it says you can't discard a summon. So if you look at the hand and they have like a Mateus,
But you know it's there.
Yeah, you know, now know it's there.
Yeah. Yeah, but like you couldn't discard it. Whereas if you played the Zidane, the heroic Zidane, you can discard
But
it.
you can play both.
Oh, come on, one's a hero card, one's a common standard unit backup. Has to be slightly worse in some way.
Yeah.
You can have 3 thieves in play.
You can have all of them playing. It's like discard
their hand. Yeah.
It's much harder to play 3 Zidanes in one turn than it is to activate.
I
3
like the
thieves.
skill pad of it as well.
I just think you're not trying hard enough if you can't play 3 in one turn, personally.
Like, because there's a good time to use it, like when you're really thinking about, like something could quite screw me over coming soon, then you can use this to get rid of it. Or if you're just ahead, then you can, like, it's good if you're ahead or if you're behind.
You can use it to stop Paradise. It's one of the few ways of interacting with Elder Marsh.
Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah, I know.
Do you think that will be actually pretty good, Josh?
Elder Marsh.
Yeah, Elder Marsh with his
there's at least one good deck that she goes in, and then somebody pointed out. I think Vince pointed out to me that if you magic pot her, you automatically get the effect.
That's true. Oh my god.
Oh wait,
that's
wow.
cool.
I love this moment of.
I didn't see that.
I knew those foil magic pots would be good for something.
That's pretty cool. Thanks for that little tidbit. But this card is strong. Just 4.
Yeah.
Like there's no denying you knowing extra information.
It's
information
going to
is
be a
very
consideration a lot of the time.
I'm
for
thinking, is
Windex.
this a card where you get asked, why aren't you playing it?
Yeah, exactly. This can be a 5, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like,
think
if
it's
you're
a
in
5.
Wind, like, someone's going to ask you, why aren't you playing Thief? And then you can have good reasons. Maybe you're not playing it for good reasons, but it's a valid question.
Do you think the Opus 1 Archer is out of 5? 5 rating?
Well, you see, one of these cards is an FFTA2 card. One of those cards.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
One of them
Also-
don't have the A2 qualifications required to go on to secondary, tertiary education.
And you can play both. You can like kill their power booster and take it out of their hand.
Kill the Sybil to get it.
Actually, yeah.
I think I'm happy to give this thing a
Okay,
5.
sure. No worries. Yeah, I'm not against it being a 5. I was just trying to compare it to the Archer. That's all.
Yeah, like Devil's Advocate, right?
Yeah.
The Archer is a lot more costly to use the effect of. This Thief is really cheap to use the effect of.
It is.
So
But
when
it
you're trying to
also
free up
impacts
space.
the board more.
Yeah, like the fact it's so breakable, like on demand sort of thing.
Yeah, whenever you just break it, there's no real bad time, except if they have a hand of like 4 summons. But you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Then
Against that
probably
summon
fine.
deck.
Yeah.
Against that
You
summon
can use
deck.
the Sid Polin. What? How'd you say that?
Sid
Polendina.
Polendina.
I'm not
There
sure.
you go.
I'm not sure if you've heard our podcast, but we talk about Sid Polina all the time.
He's a pretty cool guy.
And
He's
this next card,
Yeah.
right? I think I'm gonna take the reins for this one.
Sure.
Because this card is close to my heart. Is a 4-drop 8K wind forward called Sin Polidina. He's an engineer, so I think he's past the A2 stage that you were talking about,
definitely.
right? Yeah. When Sin Polidina enters the field, your opponent reveals his or her hand. Oh, that's nice. If Sin Polidina deals damage to a forward of cost 5 or more, increase the damage by 4,000 instead. If Sin Polidina is dealt by a forward of cost 5 or more, reduce the damage by 4,000 instead. And I really love this card because it fits in the Wind Earth Shantoto deck. I've been trying to make the 4 Shantoto work for a long time, and I think it's finally found a
Well, for
home.
about 3 months.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty long considering.
I want to. I haven't played 4, but is Sid Polendina like a peeping Tom or something?
Why does he always look at someone's hand?
He's always looking.
Why
at
is
your
that?
hand.
Why is his card
We should-
identity? He looks at your stuff.
We should research that and tell them on the next podcast. But what do you think about this, Josh?
I mean, you sound a lot more excited.
This is a 10 out of 5.
No, not really. But it's exciting because this is another forward along with Warrior of Light, along with Y'shtola, along with White Mage, along with a couple of monsters that turn into forwards. That Y'shtola can rat the board and you can still have a board on your side.
Well, yeah,
but that is why
right?
the 4-Chanto.
Yeah.
So you can rat the board and still have forwards on your side. It's like this. That's like when that gets off. That's amazing. But like we still have to see
the forward Shantoto.
Yeah.
But it's still just a 4-drop 8.
I don't think that you need to play around the forward Shantoto.
Yeah.
No. I play the 4-Chanto
He's
myself.
playing it in complement with.
Oh, you play it yourself.
Yeah. Because
whoa, I'm not even.
Yes.
Where was this when I was building decks for Milan? Jeez.
Because I've played the 4-Chanto and when it hits off, it hits off really well. It's
self-harm decks.
It's really very dependent on the number of forwards that you have in your deck, because you have to have all these other support cards. But now you can have these forwards that don't really die to your own Shantoto, which is amazing. And also the next card also really helps with that as well.
I don't know how much would we value just looking at your opponent's hand as?
Not very highly.
Man. I used the 3-drop Sid Polina. I can't remember the rest of the deck. It was like a wind ice.
There was a reason you were doing it.
The reason I had it was because I played Minerva, and so I could look at the hand and be like, you've got no answer. Minerva! Take over the game.
When they don't have an answer for Minerva sweeps.
Yeah.
Sweeps.
Now you can do that without having to dollar forward.
Yeah.
You can do it immediately and then play 7 for Minerva after paying 4 for my Sid Polina.
No, you can just devout him.
You devout him?
Yeah, just devout him and then get your Minerva out.
Okay. Yeah, obviously that was a bit of a meme deck.
Yeah. Sid Polina
at least fulfilled
is
the
like,
role.
I think we can rate him the same we did Yule. He's just he's worth as much as your skill is worth. Now what you do with the information.
How much did we rate
I
Yule?
think it's kind of the opposite. The more skill you have, the more you can read your opponent's hand, right?
That's
so
true.
that he becomes less valuable.
Okay.
No.
He's this doesn't have anything to do with our rating, but I'm noticing the continued trend of Yoshitaka Amano art cards still only being heroic or higher.
Yeah,
Wait, he's heroic?
He's heroic.
He's heroic.
Yeah. I felt a little nonplussed when I opened one of him.
Wow.
Maybe that was in his contract.
Actually,
It
wait.
is.
It would have been great against my Eldnarsh. No,
We didn't
Eldnarsh was
play,
sweeping
did we?
in pre-release.
I can't
No, we
even
didn't.
remember.
We didn't.
Yeah.
But my Eldnarsh was sweeping.
What do you mean? I missed it.
Did you?
So,
Yes.
Oh, damn.
so what are we going to give this card?
I'm gonna stay quiet because I think I'll skew the results. So you guys do it.
If we are to consider Murad's brew, then we could say 2 + 1,
No.
or we could be more realistic and say 1 + 1.
No.
Yeah. Or 1 + 2,
No,
because that's
it's
crazy.
going to wait.
1 + 2.
It's not a 1 if you could see your opponent's hand. That is, and it's an on curve forward.
But like Chris was saying, you can probably figure out your opponent's hand anyway.
Yeah.
No, come
How
on.
much CP do you want to pay? How much is seeing your opponent's hand even worth in CP?
I don't. I wouldn't.
Because the thief can do it for 1.
Yeah.
And it also takes a card.
Yeah.
Zidane also takes a card. It just lets you see it. If I see it and I see there's, say, an Alcid in their hand, I mean, granted, now I know there's an Alcid. Never play a forward.
Yeah.
The thing is, this is never going to make it into any deck I build. And I also make forward Shantoto decks.
Okay.
1 + 2.
I do think that there should be +2.
Yeah. Just for this one deck.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It can be awarded a
I'm
token.
going-
wait, what about 1 + 1 + 1?
I'm going to show you the wrath of Shantoto with
All right.
Sybil and Tina.
All right. We'll
You'll
look forward
all
to
see.
it.
You'll all see.
All right. Should we
Next
move on?
regional. First place.
I'm looking
You better watch out at the next Octagon Open, Josh.
Actually, we should. Murad, are you willing to commit to playing Sid Polina in all of your regional
No,
sets?
not all of them. Maybe one of them, yeah.
Maybe one.
No, not all of them, but I'll commit to one of them.
All right.
I'll commit to one of them.
Prove us all wrong.
Let us move on.
Yeah, so next card, Josh, do you want to tell us about it?
Okay, so it's a 1-drop, White Mage. It's a standard unit, forward from FF3. It's got a nice little Lunith picture. It's got 3,000 power, so it's on curve for a 1-drop in terms of stats. You have to put White Mage into the break zone. The forwards you control don't receive any damage from summons or abilities this turn.
Yeah, so you could just play this with Shantoto.
Exactly. yeah. I play 3 of this, 3 Sybil, 3 Yustola, 3 Shantoto, and 3 Warrior of Life.
So this actually has some synergy in some decks, right? Not just that, but it protects your board from Fire Raga. Protects it from
That's correct, yeah.
This is the
whatever Rydia's S is called. I forgot what that's called.
Gaia Force or something.
The forward
like
Rydia,
that.
yeah.
This is the one drop that the Shemhazai deck has been sort of desperately hoping for, right?
Yeah, then
This
it's
is-
only really.
Oh, it's got Save Your Dudes.
Yeah. Well, not from Cyclops, but from like other things.
Yeah,
And
and even
that's
then
what the Maria
So
is.
I'll say killing 2 forwards.
Yeah.
Makes it only killed 1.
Yeah, and like this would be like if we imagine this was a summon instead, a 1-cost summon. Like, how good would we think that is? And I think it would be like fine to fill the niche in certain decks. But the fact it's on a forward makes it better, I think.
Yeah.
I think it would be.
I actually don't think I'd prefer it on a summon. Because
Because summon's reactive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is like, in your spammy little
Hey,
one
come
drop.
on.
Oh, like
This still
in
gets
that
to do
deck,
it.
I think this is
You
better.
can't
But I think in a
you
vacuum,
can't
it's a
time.
effect.
Yeah.
you can't time when to use it as a forward.
Yeah, you can.
Your opponent gets to time. Your opponent times when it gets used.
Yeah, because they
So
use
your
something.
opponent plays a card, and then you have to negate it.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's a summon, if your opponent plays a card, you can leave it and maybe wait for a better card.
Yeah.
If it was a backup, well, I mean, it would cost like 2 or 3 even, then I would be more on board with this card. But as a forward, I just don't think that it's particularly useful.
It really kind of feels just for the Shemhazai decks.
Yeah. You will always get
Yeah.
the minimum out of this card. Like it'll stop like a Raigdir killing one of your forwards. That'll be it.
Well, it
So
kills
the
this one
Ricky
instead.
killing it
Yeah, exactly. So it won't really do much.
Jumps in front of the sword.
prevents the dull on Ricky. That's
Yeah.
all you do.
But
Oh boy.
it would also prevent the Cid, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But
Yeah, but then they can just Al-Cid you and not even have the other part in their hand. They can just play Al-Cid, pick a forward, you
They
lose a
have to
forward.
put a lightning forward into play though.
Yeah.
No,
yeah, they
if they put the lightning forward into play, it's too late.
yeah. So if you want to cancel
So-
Alcid, you have to respond with.
Oh,
lightning.
right,
Yeah.
Yep.
So you don't even need the other half. You can just tap for play Al-Cid and they lose a forward.
Yeah. And then Alcid's pretty much paid for itself then.
Yeah, if it's killed a thing.
Yeah.
Seymour with 6,000 power.
yeah, pretty much. I think I'd probably rather have Seymour though.
Alright, so are we 1+ing this card?
Like-
One plus
Wait, do you,
four.
wait, you think it's a 1?
Yes.
I think it might be a 1+2 just because I think
Just
that
because of
Shemhazai
Morgan's
deck
deck, right,
really wants this card. Like there is a deck that has been craving this effect.
Okay.
Because like I've ended games against Morgan just by playing bomb and not even using it.
But then against this white mage, as Josh was saying, don't you just kill this first?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then you bomb and it didn't do anything anyway.
Oh,
it wasn't
might not
roadblock,
have all
at
the
least.
resources.
Like a 3k roadblock against fire, like you know.
Like the question then is, what does it take the place of in that deck?
In a Shemhazai deck.
Yeah.
I don't even know what goes into a
Ah,
Shemhazai
okay,
deck.
so there's a
Chocobos.
there's a
and
player in
Shell.
our local environment who his curve tops out, apart from like 2 or 3 cards, it tops out at 2, and he
Whoa.
he plays tons of forwards, and it just really pressures you to have the few specific answers in your deck, or you'll just lose.
It's a real spoiler of a deck.
And then Shemhazai just comes down and poof,
It's one of those fun decks that just gets you. You're like,
yeah,
oh, okay.
yeah, it just suddenly gets you.
And,
out of
like
nowhere.
honestly,
You
like
have to be prepared.
So we all our like whenever we deck build, we always have it. As
like,
well, 'cause
will
it's
it
in our
be more
meta.
good?
So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's still just a 1. Maybe.
Yeah, it's a 1, but with a
1 plus
1
2.
or 2.
It's either 1+1 or
Is it
1+2.
really a 2?
It's a 3. It's a 3 in those decks.
No, even in those decks, because like they just get
Okay.
around it again.
Yeah, yeah,
We
they
move
just-
it
you just
first.
play around it.
and
Sure,
then do
fine,
that
whatever.
anyway.
I want split hairs. 1
So
plus
I
1.
think 1.
Okay.
Yeah, I think 1.
Next card. Kevin, do you want to tell us?
Okay, so this is a 2-cost standard unit forward called Elementalist from FFTA2 again. And it reads, Wind Dull, choose one forward you control. It cannot be chosen by your opponent's summons or abilities this turn.
That's a cool card.
It's a forward. I thought it was a backup when it first.
No, that would be broken.
This card really promotes interactivity. I like this card a lot. Tells my opponent, no, you can't kill my forwards. Stop it.
Yep.
Play
Stop
FFTCG.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like we're finally getting to that nope deck we always talk about ever since.
This is another when we were talking about Adelle earlier. If you're, it's a TA2 character, so your Luso can hit it, right?
Yeah, there's
it
enough
keeps your
TA2
your Adelle alive to get through.
Yeah, and if this sticks a turn, it makes your opponent essentially overcommit to every single removal they have to play.
Yep.
It just make me really sad if my opponent played that card and I couldn't kill it.
Yeah.
I feel like, really? Am I going to get clobbered by this?
This is what it feels like against the 1 and 2 drop.
It's like
take that feeling and then just
multiply it.
No, it's getting killed off the 1-drop first strike Chocobo. that is the worst. It's like it's just the first strike 3K. I got the 7th point of damage was from that.
I think this can because it's such a small investment. You're just playing a 2-drop. You know, you don't really mind if it dies, but if it sticks around, you can really protect some of your bigger forwards.
It's on curve.
Also, it's
2-drop 5K with a
unit.
stellar ability.
Yeah.
It's a standard.
What happens if you get 2 down? Does your opponent just have to stop playing FFTCG?
Yep.
Pretty much.
You look for your AoE. That's what you do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, not if they.
You've got that white mage.
Yeah, you got white mage. You have to choose that.
This is insane.
+5 synergy.
And you guys gave white mage a +1.
All right.
Someone's gunning for the plus.
No, honestly,
Can we start this review again? I just feel like we didn't talk enough about white mage.
he's actually going to play these cards. This is actually going to show up in
but that's mostly going to be because of this card. I think. I think this card is going to be pretty strong, especially in things that we say. Oh, it dies to removal. You know, like the Legend Van or the Legend Zemus and stuff that are going to die instantly if you manage to stick Elementalist this turn. You can play these high risk cards with slightly less risk.
Wind has some sort of protection as well, though.
Yeah.
Other than this.
I think this is
this will protect other things.
But this is the easiest thing to use.
No, it is. But I'm saying use those things to protect this, and this will protect later on, right?
Yeah.
So what do we anticipate killing this at the moment?
I mean, if you kill this immediately on the first turn, almost everything kills this.
Yeah, every archetype has a way to.
Zalbag. Oh no, that would be
actually Zalbag would be pretty devastating actually.
Then it's like, you thought I was gonna have to quit because you played Elementalist. Now you have to quit.
If you play 3 of these in one turn with a white mage on board, though, how do you deal with that?
I knew you stole it.
Yeah.
You shan Toto.
Then you stole it. You can just
you can cancel the order.
Oh, and Ishtalar. Okay.
Yeah.
But Wind is going to be really, really annoying. But what do we rate this card?
1.
I just
2.
Yeah.
Well, after all this in 2, wow.
Because I'm trying to imagine myself putting it in a deck.
Okay, so my thing, right, is that most decks usually have a 2 CP plus card answer to this. Mm-hmm. So at the very least, it's even trades.
Well,
when I'm looking at most of my decks, I'm like, what's the best way I can kill this? Oh, Hecaton Cure. If I Hecaton Cure, I lost a key removal spell. Not only that,
hopefully the best way you can kill it is with
something that doesn't cost
an
you
ability.
anything.
You don't spend the card.
VV, Zalbag, etc.
Shadow Lord.
You're developing your board while playing the removal.
Yeah, and 5K is perfectly vulnerable to almost all of them. Not a certain Siderains though.
Exactly.
But there is a certain Siderain.
There is a certain Siderain.
There is. Yeah, exactly. You play VV, then they dull it to make the card.
and then you tell me the Siderain.
Oh goodness!
Oh my!
Okay, well, so what? 2 plus 1.
I think this card deserves a 3.
I'm willing to give it a 3. I can think of deck. I've got ideas about maybe playing it.
I'd say 2 plus 1.
Yeah, sure.
I
2
mean-
plus 1.
I'm highly
Two
interested
plus
in it. We're gonna see it, and it will like win
'Cause
games.
you only-
But like I'm definitely not gonna put it above a 3. I think 2 also.
Yeah,
but
2 sounds about right.
I mean, I'm fine making the allowance with a +1 just of
'cause-
because we're so familiar with the 1 and 2 drop. deck
Also,
and
you can just put this in like if you really want to predict something. So, like,
Say you've got like a linchpin
yeah,
for your strategy.
I think it deserves a +1. But yeah, maybe basis
Yeah.
2.
Okay. Next card, Jared.
Sure, we've got something from 14, I'm gonna
No,
guess.
it's
not.
11.
It's 11. They had stupid names then too. 2 for Sumer-Fina. Sumer-Fina? It's a backup, it's 2-drop backup. The cost to play card name Star Sybil onto the field is reduced by 2. And it has, is that Wind generic?
Yep.
Choose 1 forward, deal it 1,000 damage. Oh, it doesn't dull to do that.
Alright,
It's
it's
kinda
a
cool.
1. Let's move on.
I mean, yeah, it's a 1.
Really?
I don't
I
know.
thought this card was
kinda
insane.
neat.
Okay, so
Really?
so the thing is, right, is that Star Sybil is like my favorite, like one of my favorite Earth cards, right? And even I'm saying is like Star Sybil is worth it already, and like even if you're going Earth Wind, are you playing this? I mean, I'll definitely try it out. Like there's no doubt in my mind that I'm trying this out and putting it in a deck. But
You
like,
definitely are playing this.
sorry, what?
You definitely are playing this. You have this 4 CP Earth 8,000 power FF6 forward that really likes to be hit by hit for 1,000 damage.
Daluma.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, that
And you don't even have to dull to use the effect.
It is
So you can
really
always ping it
expensive.
twice.
you mean
It's
big Dagger
expensive,
Luma twice
yes.
to deal 8k to everything.
No, do one thing.
So,
but,
yeah, to 1 point.
but
Also, this card has synergy with cards in Wind already. It has synergy with Diablos and Barbarissia.
Oh yeah.
True,
I can see
and
that.
also with Orlando and Lightning.
and the new Diablos.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, that's...
Oh, right. Yeah, sorry, I was thinking the previous one for the activate for some reason.
It's okay.
It's because you said it without the O.
Oh, Diabolos?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Oh wow.
yeah.
It's so much clearer now.
I don't know.
Possible.
Even then, it's like a 1+1, right?
I don't think so. I think
It's-
this is
it's
like 3 at least.
Just being able to reduce the cost of Star Civil by 2 is a strong effect in itself. Because Star Civil is going to be a 3 of.
It's not like
And
Harley
then
reducing
having
Edward.
the-
Star Sibyl's
And then
like,
having the
better card.
added effect that's not a useless card. A useless effect is what I think pulls it up to being playable in Earthwind.
Okay.
Or probably being a staple in Earthwind. Specifically in Earthwind, obviously. In any other Wind deck, it's obviously complete crap. But in Earthwind specifically, especially because it has synergy with the Adelle on top of everything else, I think this card is really strong in that specific deck. In any other deck, of course, just complete crap.
I think 2+1.
Wait, so really strong is a 3?
I
think
think
that's
I
No,
think
no, no,
a
it's
total
not-
of 3 points was my point.
No, it's a 3 in that deck. Like it can't like.
No, I
No, the
really think
synergy-
it's really scary knowing that they always have access to 1k power, 1k damage.
The
But
synergy
but if you're-
aspect should
if-
definitely be it.
If you're on Earth,
Yeah.
then you can just run Pelennor. And even Pelennor, you can like you know.
You get
You
to
can
Pelennor
run
once.
Pelennor, but then I can only Pelennor my Adelle once.
Yeah.
The Pelennor has to dull to use it, so it costs the same amount of CP as this effect. And Pelennor doesn't reduce the cost of my card named Star Civil by 2.
So
It's the fact that it has this playable effect on top of reducing the card,
True.
the cost of a card that you already want to be playing.
Like, this is a fine card to play if you've already played a Star Sybil, right?
yeah, because you
Yes,
will play more
because
than
you
one
can break
Star Sybil.
Civil.
Yeah.
So, okay.
I don't think it's ever really truly dead, right? It keeps
I'm also-
being relevant.
Because of
Convince
its
me.
text, I'm also tempted to not package its power as part of a synergy rating.
Okay.
Because it's, like...
Yeah, because
we can make the allowance that you're
Yeah.
playing Star Sybil if you're playing this card.
you're not even considering.
I was more the synergy for the
Like,
the
no
data
data
limit.
movement, no
Yeah.
Diablos. Like,
Yeah, the Adelle with Diablos Barb synergy is
Yeah.
pretty good for that.
So like 3+1, 4.
I feel like it would definitely go to at least 4. Yeah, 4.
Okay.
This is, but if you've
And
got
those
actually, no, if you've got all the parts for the synergy, like I think you do have to be asked why aren't you playing it in your deck?
It's not a
yeah,
five.
you're playing
No, no.
Earthwind.
Yeah,
So
like
then
if
in that
all
case
those
it's 3
pieces
plus
are
2.
there, That's a fact.
Because you're going to be playing, most basically, you're going to be playing, if you're playing Earth Wind, unless if you're playing a Milburn, you're already going to be playing Dagaluma and the stuff like the 2-drop Ishtar and Cactuars to ping it. So you're not having this extra ping effect that also reduces the cost of a card that you're going to be playing in your deck anyway with Star Sybil.
And unlike the rest of those effects, it's not limited to once per turn.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's basically auto-include if you've got the rest of the synergy, right?
If you could have an Ishtula that is much more difficult to remove, I mean, like the Opus 1 forward one, wouldn't you, in that deck? Like,
yeah, but
it's so much harder to kill a backup.
it's more expensive though.
Yeah, but you don't need to worry about it's expensive because you're killing things off. Like you're getting value for the 3 CP.
No, like I actually really like this card, but for you guys go as far as to say that it's a 3+2.
In that deck, it's
in
kind
that
of like
it's crazy.
the more we talk about it, the more essential it seems.
Yeah. So what is it then? What's the final?
So yeah, I'd go.
I like 3+2.
Yeah.
The synergy
I'd go with
aspect
that
is
too.
crazy for it.
Sure.
This is why I really like having guests on as well, because we get outside of our own little conversations. We get outside points of view, and it's definitely opened our eyes. I feel to this card.
Yeah.
So 3+2.
Okay. Chris, do you want to tell us the next card?
It's a Chocobo. So it costs 3. It's a standard unit Chocobo. For 7k, if Chocobo forms a party, Chocobo doesn't receive any damage.
So this is just like the selfish Chocobo.
Yeah, as opposed to Knight from Water.
Yeah, exactly. The other Chocobos give first strike and like give power. This one's like, no.
Me!
It's like, I need
like,
to survive.
It bucks you off and then just runs away.
Like if this is Mario
it
and Yoshi, right, the Yoshi would kick Mario off and then Yoshi would survive.
Yeah, that's the thing. It just runs faster than its friend. It's getting blocked.
This isn't super relevant, but it gets it gives Ramza a buff.
Oh yeah.
That's true. And it's like even without that text, it being a Chocobo, it being a standing unit, it being on curve for 3. But for 3-drop, right? You can play it with Fat Chocobo. You can buff it with a whole bunch of static units. Everything about it is great. And then the little cherry on top is that if you ever do party with it, it doesn't die.
But it's not
That
the thing
means
that
that
wants
you-
to be not dying, is it?
That means that your opponent always has to kill the crappy forward you party with.
Yeah.
Like
as a
the
Zidane,
white
that's
mage that we get +1.
Oh, exactly. But I think what I like about this card is that it's 7k and all the other Chocobos is 6k. So it's actually the biggest. And with Fat Chocobo, that does put it up to 9k. That is something.
That's very relevant.
You can also party the two of them, like two of this one together. It's so easy to find Chocobos now. We've got Izana, Fat Chocobo, and Chocobo Knight. So,
And this
Which
is a
is
really
next
good
turn.
one to put on any of
They're
those.
standard units too, most of the Chocobos.
So 3+1.
I think it's the only Chocobo that's not the black Chocobo because its job is Chocobo.
Yeah. Oh, and Fat Chocobo, obviously.
Oh yeah. Obviously, it's a fatty.
Yeah.
So 3+1. Everyone agree?
I don't think it's a 3. Like,
3.
Really?
It's
Really?
not. It's not a 3.
Yeah.
It's not an auto include in any Fat Chocobo deck either because the
Yeah.
Opus. You always want to play the special Chocobo, the one that gives haste.
Yeah.
So you can go Izana, Fat Chocobo, pull that hit with Izana. And you also, a strong contender for the Chocobo slot is the Opus 1 Chocobo. Because that, if you don't have Izana, you can just play the fatty and always hit your opponent.
Yeah.
It's more
Since
aggressive.
you're a very aggressive player, Josh.
When it comes to Chocobos.
Yeah, Chocobos is not exactly a controlling
you don't sit
archetype.
back and build a farm of
Nah,
Chocobos.
I'm just teasing.
Yeah.
So what was it? 2+1 then?
Yeah, 2+1.
Yeah, because it's
That seems
3 in
fine.
a Chocobo supported deck.
Strong.
It's just another one to hit the Chocobo density for the next card we'll talk about.
Sure. The next card is a 3-drop Chocobo Knight. Standard unit, 3,000 power. It has a multi-card icon, so you can play multiple of them. When Chocobo Knight enters the field, you may search for one job Chocobo or a card named Chocobo and add it to your hand. And you can dull it, the low price of just dulling it, to play one job Chocobo or card named Chocobo of cost 4 or less from your hand onto the field. So,
Plays any non-fat Chocobo onto the field at the moment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
There are
and-
no 4-cost Chocobos, unfortunately.
Those can find the fat Chocobo, which finds the special Chocobo, which gives it haste, which then you dull it and play a Chocobo.
Oh.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you play another special Chocobo and give your previous special Chocobo.
Yeah. Wow. And that means you get an attack for like.
And get 3 forwards and 4.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And a backup.
Can you do this turn 3?
No, it has to be turn 3.
Oh yeah, you'd want 2
No,
backups.
you can do it turn 2. Turn 2, you have to go double back up.
Yeah, yeah. Turn 1 double back up, and then you can do this. You have 3 forwards, 2 backups, and an attack.
So you have 3 forwards, 3 backups,
Yeah.
And this
and a
Chocobo,
fat Chocobo.
I think Chocobo Knight is part of the longest search chain in the game
Yeah,
as well,
yeah.
which starts with. Does it start with
Luso.
Mognet too, or Sarah?
I don't know.
Because
You can start with Mobius,
if you
can't
find,
it?
No, because Sarah can find the Mobius Mog.
No.
So then you
Wait,
find
no,
Well,
Sarah.
and Mobius
And then,
Mog finds
and then the Mobius
Luso.
Mog finds Steiner, which finds Ico.
No, it has to
you
find
have
Ico.
I have to find Ico, yeah. So you have to.
I guess you just start with Steiner.
Yeah. But then.
Steiner, Ico,
You have to go
Bron.
Ico, which gets
Ico,
Steiner. And then
Oh.
Steiner can get
Bron,
Bra, which can find this Chocobo
Chocobo
Knight,
Knight.
which can find a fat Chocobo, which can find a Chocobo.
Oh god.
I think that's the longest chain you can make in the game. Something like that.
Post in the comments if
Strong.
you think you can
Strong.
find one that's longer.
I don't know if it's cheating to include the Mobius Moogle because you have to wait a turn. So
You can't do it all
but
at
even
once.
even without the Mobius Moogle, you can still do it.
You can Luso into it.
Yeah, you can.
Start your chain with Sid of Clan Gully.
Yeah,
That's
true.
This
To Luso.
it's very fragile though.
It is
there's
very
no,
fragile, but it's essentially on curve. So.
There's no
Yeah.
TA2 Chocobo yet, right?
No, that's not one.
Okay.
So what would we rate this card?
2.
2+1 for the Chocobo deck,
Hey.
like the
Yeah,
previous
yeah.
Chocobo.
There's gotta be a deck now that can play like 12 Chocobos or something.
Yeah,
That
like
can't
if you got
work that
Hope
way.
in play,
Yeah.
Just keep going.
Because
Play
this, you know,
multiple Chocobos for free.
if you don't kill it, it's like 3 backups in 1 card.
Yeah, like, well, if you say you got a Chocobo in hand, you go find the special one, you put something in play. That's a big board.
That's crazy, right?
What?
Yeah, it's crazy.
But like
It's just it requires more deck investment than
Yeah.
Izana does.
Yeah,
Yes,
way.
Izana just requires Izana. I say just. It's quite big still. Izana 4 Chocobos and 1 fat Chocobo. It requires 8 slots.
Yeah.
If you want to use Chocobo Knight, it sounds like you're putting like 20 plus slots to Chocobos.
Yeah, because you want a density of chocobos to
That
put
said,
in.
But-
the Chocobo
Yeah.
Knight survives. You're producing Chocobos at an alarming rate from that point
they just
forward.
breed like crazy.
that's but like that said, right? This is like a must kill forward for the like if your opponent doesn't answer this, like
It's
they're
a
doing
must
it
kill
wrong.
Well,
3k.
That's when your Elementalist comes in.
Oh my god.
So
Ag-
we're definitely
Again,
there's a high
the must kill aspect of it also comes down to you drawing other Chocobos, which unless if you're playing a super high density or if you just probably won't. And none of the Chocobos, I'm tempted to say, are searchable within the wind color, other than through Izana.
and
And
this one,
this-
and
Because
this
one's
one's
from
Hmm.
one's
Yeah.
from Tactics, one's from 13, one's special.
Yeah.
One is 8.
And
And
there's
one
One,
is
oh, no,
7.
there are 2
There's a
7
7 one.
ones.
Yeah.
There are 2 7 Chocobos.
So yeah, nothing in mono wind that can search it.
What's the second 7? I know that's the haste one is 7.
There's
This is
this,
the one drop one. The one drop 3K.
both of the Opus 1 Chocobos are from 7.
Oh yes. There's 2 Chocobos in
But you,
this one.
And there's a
forgot
Final Fantasy
that.
8 Chocobo as well.
Yeah, that's the first
Yeah.
strike one.
Yeah. So what? 2 plus 1.
I think this is a +2 for synergy.
Okay, +2 because specifically in Chocobo
2 plus
deck
two.
it's
Yeah,
like crazy.
and that chain we mentioned, well, a few of the chains we mentioned are pretty insane openers.
Yeah,
Okay.
like the more reasonable chains, not the ones that
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
plus like 4 elements.
Yeah, like the fat one, the
Yeah.
special one, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. 2 plus 2. Next card, Josh. I think you want to do this card.
Oh, Diablos. Oh, sorry, Diabolos.
Yeah.
Wait, there's an O there?
Yeah, there's
Oh my god!
Diablos.
It's what?
Yeah, it spelled differently from the old one.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead, Josh.
Diablos is a legend summon. It costs 5 CP. You get to select 2 of the following 4 actions. 3 of the actions say win the game, and 1 says activate all your forwards.
Which is win the game against certain ice.
Wait, just go on.
Choose 1 forward of cost 5 or more, break it. Choose 1 forward of cost 4 or less until the end of the turn. Its power becomes 1000. Activate all the forwards you control and activate all the backups you control. So if you really want to, on 5 backups, you can just tap it and use it as an activate all your forwards and all your backups as a Bart's without the body.
Without the
Bart's
body.
in any dual color deck. Which lets you hit and do stuff. But the real power it gets is that you can easily pick up 2-for-1s with the... If they block a forward, set it to 1000, break another forward. Or you can just set it to 1000 and activate all your backups, making it basically a 0 CP combat trick. It synergizes with the choose 1 forward, set it to 1000 power, synergizes with so many other wind, ice, fire, lightning cards. And then being able to activate all of your backups, making that effect completely free. It's just so versatile. So good at killing your opponent's stuff, and so good at making your turns nice and efficient as well.
0 cost Alexander, 0 cost Odin, or like a Raiden.
Yeah, I definitely see that this card is going to be played, and because I feel like more 5 or more forwards are going to be played.
It's also something that outside of like Chaos Walk of the Wheel, Wind couldn't really just be like, okay, I've got this. You're dead thing. It could with the 5 or more, but like because this thing's so versatile, like it's not a massive cost of putting it in your deck.
It's like Wind didn't really have good summons.
Yeah.
Come on, it had Shemazai.
On my bad, it had generically good summons. And Diablos, while not introducing a new thing to the color, because those are all effects that Wind already had access to. But it puts them all into 1 card, and it's a summon. So you get a summon that actually just kind of embodies what Wind does.
Yeah, you take all the situational summons that were in the deck, and you just collapse them down to 3 deck slots, and then that gives you so much more power in the rest of your deck, while like not needing to draw exactly the situational card to deal with this situation.
Welcome to Diablos' Wacky Wind Warehouse, where all the wind effects are here and for you.
At a discount of 1 card. But how many would you guys run? Like 3? I feel like 3.
2 to 3. Probably 3. I mean, look how scary that card is. Do you really want to be on the receiving end of that?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Like, imagine back in Opus 1. Remember the good old days, right? When we played Bahamut's and things. What if that cost 5? What if Bahamut cost 5?
No,
that'd be pretty good, wouldn't it?
Forward.
Yeah.
It's just Bahamut.
Yeah, it's just Bahamut. Yeah.
It kind of sucks that this gets cancelled by Edward or Salas.
Yeah. It's definitely a big investment if you don't get anything back, but Wind has ways to deal with that.
Oh, one thing to note, of course, is that if you choose a forward of cost 5 to break, or a forward of cost 4 or less to set to 1000, if your opponent Leviathans, for example, the forward back to their hand, you won't get the untap effect.
And that's a huge...
And that is pretty devastating.
Yeah.
That happened to me at the pre-release.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Cool.
To be fair, you drafted Diablos.
Yeah. Foil Diablos, actually.
Yeah. But...
Oh, nice. I see you two are really skilled. Very powerful choice.
I spec all of my points into luck. Better lucky than good.
Yeah, but like Wind has now a lot of ways to prevent things like that from happening. So Diablos, you can be relatively sure that it's gonna go off. So it's just insane. I think we rate it as much as it costs. 0.
Yeah, I'm agree with a 5. Like I imagine I'm making a Wind deck, and then
Hard to think of one.
People says like, why are you running Diabolos? And I say because I don't like too many O's in the name.
And they were like, okay.
Wait, Ola Bolas. Damn it.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that. It's a very strong card. There's definitely no synergy points though.
Yeah, really strong card.
What I like about it is that it allows you to bridge. It's not like the card only works with wind cards. Sending it forwards to 1,000 power lets you bridge across into lightning, ice, and fire decks. with
No,
this
and
card.
even Earth with the Pelennor we were just talking about, or even Dadaluma, like it still works.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So,
still
yeah.
works.
So
Its
it bridges
versatility
across
isn't
into
limited
basically
to its
every
wind.
colour.
Yeah, even
Yeah.
water can just attack with Beatrix or something.
Tulane.
And
You can use Tulane, Kagnaza, and Card of Darkness with
Yeah.
Diablos.
Yeah.
yeah, and even if you're going like Wind or X, and that X element didn't like support it, you can still run Cactuar, and Cactuar can still
Yeah.
kill two things with you on it. So it's like,
Yeah.
and Cactuar is still a very good card. So it's like, yeah.
Diablos is just good. Run it in all
Yeah.
your wind decks.
This thing existing is going to make things that cost 5 or more have to be looked at in a different way as well.
I think it's good that it comes out in the set. We get lots of good high costing cards.
Yeah.
That's true.
Because we're at a
It
point, I think,
tempers-
where we're starting to really want to play those heavier forwards.
Alright,
Definitely.
Okay, so next card.
can I do this?
Sure.
Deathgaze. So it costs 3. It's called Deathgaze, and it's a monster, and it's got wind until the end of the turn. Deathgaze also becomes a forward with 7,000 power, and Deathgaze cannot be blocked by a forward with a power greater than Deathgaze's. You can only use this ability once per turn, and it has another ability called Level 5 Death, which is special wind. Break all the characters of cost 5 and 10 opponent controls.
Yeah, that's
Wait,
a misprint
what's
there.
happening here?
It's a. You can search it with Setzer.
Yeah, it's a 6 character.
Wait, that's
Oh,
6?
It's
I
a
thought it was
6!
Like,
I didn't know that. I didn't notice that the first time. Oh, that's great.
Wow.
And
you-
theatre rhythm.
Yes.
So it's got meme art.
Yes. Yes.
Would you run this in an ice?
I don't see a lot of Icewind decks, but maybe.
You can just run it and hope your opponent doesn't know that it's a misprint.
Oh, yeah.
Every turn.
Every turn. This
and-
kills Star
wait,
Sybil.
this-
This kills Star
Yeah,
Sybil.
it kills Star Sybil.
So they don't think it's a misprint, and then they just play another 5-drop anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, you like break a Setzer and Star Sybil, and like, damn, that card's pretty good. And then just Star Sybil, like, oh.
Oh man.
I opened one in the pre-release, so I want to get 2 more. Because I want to just go Deathgaze when I play it.
I mean, you can search the special with Setzer.
There's a thought of a Mimi flavor reason to run this in Icewind, other than playing it with Setzer.
Okay.
You can have level 5 death and level prime death.
No.
Yeah.
Except it's all 5s are primes. Well, except for the 10. There are no 10 cost forwards yet.
Not yet.
Not
Not
yet.
now, but soon.
Let's not gloss over that. It's like unblockable ability of
It's
7,000
LAN, yeah.
Yeah.
land. So that's still very relevant. You
It's a
know?
land without rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's strong. It's likely to always connect. I just don't. I personally do not know how good the card is.
I think Wind has better ways to get unblockable.
I also think that kind of unblockable is worse in Wind, because so often when you're playing Wind, you're playing Maria, and bumping it up to 8k makes it a lot more blockable. Like,
But they're still blocking your 3-drop with their 4-drop, right?
Well,
it's not,
it's a 4-drop when you're attacking with it, and then
Oh, yeah, that's true.
next turn it's a
Also,
5-drop, and next turn
Yeah.
the turn
Not
after
if you've
that
got No in play.
yeah, not if you have no, which
Yeah.
Yeah, actually,
you probably would
I
do
actually
if you're
quite
playing
like
this.
because Wind didn't have the only other Wind monster that turned to forward was the
Chocobo Jordan.
the Chocobo Jordan. So this just might go into my Shanto deck.
What I like about this is like when I've been theory crafting decks and stuff like that, I'm like, oh, what about Deathgaze? I'm like, people are on Deathgaze. But then, people are on Deathgaze.
I still don't think people run
Level 5
Deathgaze.
Death. And then, no, my Yuna.
Like even without the S ability, I think it's still a very
What are some notable 5-drops that we're killing if we do level 5 death?
Keep in mind that 5-drops that you don't want to Diablos for whatever
Yeah,
reason.
so I'm thinking more backups
Yeah.
than forwards.
So
I mean, no,
Like
actually,
Steiner, do you want to spend Diablos
you
Steiner?
can you can still kill Camel Knot with this if he's already turned
Camel or
Wind,
not, yeah.
because
Yes,
it doesn't
that's true.
target it doesn't target Camel Knot. So this is your answer to Camel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I just Dolga it.
So it's Yuna hits Lulu, hits Star Sybils, hits Oh, what's that weird ball thing that was?
Ozma, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
that.
royal ripeness.
It's royal ripeness. Yes,
Ooh.
it does.
I don't think really.
Look, it's just worth considering these things, and who knows? Maybe at some point it'll be relevant.
Yeah, I think this card is more like, do you have space for it? Kind of.
Yeah.
Like it's good, but like, would you sacrifice?
we
Would you
put it
sacrifice
around-
that price?
Put it around a 3.
Yeah. Because it costs a lot of space, right? If you want to use the...
Death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
again,
even
it's-
if you didn't have the death, I said it's
If
still...
Yeah.
you want to use the death is searchable.
It is. If
Uh,
you're
What if you
nice.
don't want to use death?
Yeah.
Then it's
still decent.
a strong, I'm tempted to say, card, because you only turn it into a forward when you know it's going to deal a damage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Or they're gonna do an unfavorable trade.
yeah, and any time other than that, it's like really hard
Wait,
to
its
kill.
job is its name as well. I didn't notice that.
Lan has
Okay.
been pretty consistently played in fire
is a
decks,
Deathgaze.
so
Ooh.
I'd happily give this card around a 3
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah, sure. 3+0, I think is where it's at.
It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah, I
good
think-
good in a
I think
vacuum.
that's fair.
3.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can agree with that too.
Next card, Jared. Do you want to tell us?
Why do you
about
keep
this?
giving me these things with the weird names?
Oh no, I gave you this one because you like Mill.
Okay, all right. Oh, I didn't even realize this was Non-amico.
I thought it was Milgo.
So we've got Non-amico, who's a 3-cost 6k forward from category 11. Can't be blocked by a forward, cost 4 or more. When deals damage to your opponent puts the top 2 cards of their deck into the brink zone. If both cards are the same element, draw a card. This is pretty cool. I hadn't seen this
more
one.
random cards that hate on mono.
Yeah, that's nifty. I'd end up playing this in my mill decks. So, yeah, this is a cool card.
It gives you a way to proactively mill
Yeah.
rather than just sitting back with CP or Foriku.
The other ways, the
Sid
only other
Island.
ways to really do it is to like force Sid to fight things
yeah.
with like Roban and
Hekatonka.
Hekatonka. So
I'm thinking though, in those mill decks, aren't you playing lots of things that can be chosen by abilities? So then the only targets left is going to be a 6k.
like my versions haven't been like I don't run Kani Senna and Trey and stuff.
I don't.
Oh, I think I have a Trey in there, but I'd take out Trey for this. Just like more focused game plan.
I don't quite know how good this card is.
Like, I'm,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the
It's
card
definitely
ability,
very
like,
unique.
What was it called? Adele or something?
Yeah,
The
Adele.
haste one that can be unblockable
Yeah.
for 4.
Mm.
And then you got this 4, which is like,
Much less unblockable.
Yeah.
Sometimes unblockable.
yeah, and has to wait.
Mm.
Unless you give
Yeah.
it haste
But-
some other way.
Against a lot of decks, it's a Leela.
Against mono decks, just draws you a card on hit.
That's a nice little.
So how much
Little bit of
would
extra
we
stuff.
give it
I
at?
don't know.
I don't think it's much.
I-
It's maybe like a 2+1.
I don't get it, right? So, am I trying to mill my opponent, or am I trying to kill them?
Yeah.
Wait, but dealing a damage is milling.
Yeah, it's mill.
So this is essentially
it's
mill
mill
3.
3 instead of mill
but-
2. So that
So
is
I want to
the.
mill 7 specific.
Yeah.
Like, do I want to mill 7 good cards into the damage pile? Do I want to try to mill? I don't know. The card.
It's kind of hard to
I don't
evaluate.
think
Yeah.
it's particularly good.
I think-
personally.
I think I want to give it a try, but
Yeah, it might turn out to be crazy good.
because in the mill deck, like even the defensive mill decks, you take the pot shot damage when you can because it inches you closer to your overall game plan. So, like she might fulfill some kind of role.
I mean, although I guess like
It's
she
weird,
Just,
I- like-
she just makes your opponent keep up blockers in that deck, which slows it down, makes you
Yeah.
able to mill more. I guess I don't know.
Probably end up playing one of it in Earth Wind, right? Because it's searchable wind CP with Sybil.
Yeah, yeah. So like 2+1, 1+1.
Yeah, 2+1 is good. Okay. Next card is pretty vanilla. It's a 2-cost ninja wind forward. Standing units, 4,000 power. Ninja cannot be blocked by a forward of cost 4 or more. This is like a Zidane, except plus 1,000 and can still be targeted.
Multi-card icon.
Multi-cutter.
And it's also not called Zidane.
Yeah, I guess it's just going for it.
Ninja is a relevant name.
Kind
as
of,
well,
yeah.
Sort of.
Oh, I guess it can be played with that Gecko.
And it gets plus
is
1k in
Edge.
first strike from
Edge.
Edge.
Oh my.
But other than that, like I think it's like a 1+1, honestly. What do you guys think?
It's like 1+0.
Yeah.
1+0?
Yeah.
No, I would give the ninja instead of units.
No, ninjas
Okay.
is not a thing.
Okay, fine. 1+0.
It's a meme deck. It's nothing more.
Okay.
It's just a bad card.
Next
It has
card.
4,000 in the power.
Next card. Chris, do you want to tell us about this card?
This card is Panello. It's a 3-drop EX bursting backup from category 12. She's a dancer. And her EX burst is when Panello enters the field, you may search for one card named Van forward and add it to your hand.
Does this mean that we're gonna have Vaughn backups?
Maybe.
I mean, maybe at some point.
Future-proof.
I don't like that
Yeah.
she's a dancer. Like, I can't even remember.
That's her job in the game, though.
Is it?
I thought in 12
I
your job
believe-
could
Yeah.
be anything.
Yeah, you can
Well,
choose.
sorry,
It's kind of right. Isn't it?
in the Zodiac Age, it can be anything. I guess maybe in original 12. I can't
I think
remember.
the default is supposed to be
Yeah.
dancer for her.
Like
Okay.
it was 10 years ago when I played
So, like-
vanilla 12.
I feel like people like saying this card. Oh, you can find the light Vaughn, and I guess that's okay. But like, are you really playing it to just find the light Vaughn?
I mean, we don't have to spend too much time on this card.
Sure.
It's just a
That's a
searcher.
searcher. Searcher
Searcher.
rating.
Fine.
Yeah.
Searcher rating 3+0.
Yeah, the search is just gonna.
Okay.
It's basically gonna be as good a searcher as Vaughn is.
Yeah.
Good, right?
Yeah. Next card, Kevin. Do you want to tell us?
Okay.
Well,
So,
can I mention about the before we move on?
yeah.
Sure.
I forgot. Mono Wind doesn't actually have very many tutor cards, and Panello now gives you an additional tutor card to play in Mono
That
Wind.
is true.
So you can play that 5-drop Vaughn to pull out your cards like Arc, Zidane.
To be honest, in
That's
Mono
Adele.
pretty good.
to be honest, in Mono Wind, I'm probably playing the starter Vaughn over the light Vaughn.
Starter one.
Also, with No, when Vaughn attacks, Arc's effect costs you 0, because you get back 3 backups.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love No so much.
So you can go Arc and Vaughn. Vaughn pull Arc,
Yeah.
and then you know that from then on in, unless if you...
Yeah, and that makes your Vaughn really safe on the attack as well with that play.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
good.
So just a little bit of synergy for Mono Wind.
Yeah.
Okay, next card, Kevin. Do you want to tell us?
Okay, so this is a 2-cost backup from 14 with a pronounceable name, Mimion. And she reads, when Mimion enters the field, choose one character you control, return it to your hand, you can draw a card. If you do draw a card, I think. It's something like that.
Yeah. I think there's also some really cute plays that you can do with this.
Really?
But just yeah.
Is it a Scion? I don't
No,
know.
it's not. It's the proprietress.
Right. Like with
Like
Mognet.
an innkeeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like there was there was some synergies I did in my spoiler spotlight video. But yeah, because you can even get back a backup back to your hand. Say like a searcher, draw a card, play the searcher again, find another
Or
card.
a thief that mills your opponent.
Yeah, or the thief that mills your opponent.
Like
Or
3 drops of Zidane.
Yep, the
Yep.
3 drops
I heard
of
somebody was having issue playing 3 Zidanes in a turn.
Yeah. Well,
So
certain
you
right,
get
right.
2.
Yeah, you can get 2.
Get in there.
And then you can attack with 4-drop and return Mio to your hand. Play
Oh,
your
yeah.
Mio and return something else to your hand.
Yeah. Oh my god. It's
Yeah,
insane.
yeah,
there's the
Wait,
3
that's 3 Zidanes in a
Zidanes
turn.
turn.
Yes,
done it
of one today. You don't even need more than
You
one.
don't need to draw all 3.
Oh my.
All right, that's easier
So
than breaking
what's in your
3
hand again?
thieves.
Oh yeah. What's in your hand
Well,
again? Oh yeah.
I forgot. What's in your head again?
Oh, nothing now.
Okay.
Where I think that this card really shines is that you in Lightning Wind, you get to bounce your lightning removal cards.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
Yeah,
your
definitely.
Orlando, your Alcid parts.
Your black mages.
Yeah. You also get to bounce in Windfire. You get to bounce VV. It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
But also in Wind Ice, you get to bounce Genesis and Sid Rains. Sid Rains will make them discard 2 cards and kill an 8k if you play it.
Yeah, I
'Cause
think
it
everyone
remembers, doesn't it? It remembers the
Yeah.
discard trigger.
Yeah, everyone knows how much you love the status it reigns. It's like your little pet guy.
The issue with ETBs on backups is the timing, right? Because you want to play backups, but if they've got a time-sensitive ability like
right.
this, you want to like hold off on playing them so that you can, that tension.
It's okay. This one is a you may return it to its owner's hand.
It's a you may.
I know, but I still like the tension of. Like, it would suck to just play this.
It works.
But at the same time, think about all
wasting a CP.
Yeah.
Think about all those turn 1 Jills that never got to freeze anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's not the end of the
this.
world on a 2-drop.
And she had EX bursts too.
So what would we give the card?
This has to be with synergy, right?
I would say maybe a 2 or 3, and then the synergy part is like a 2 because it's really good synergy.
So 2 plus 2?
I think 2 plus 2.
Yeah, something like that.
I agree with this also.
Sure. Next card. Kevin, do you want to tell us this one as well?
Yes. This is the Scion of the Seventh Dawn. This is the sexiest one. Get some sibilance in there. This is a 3-cost Ishtala Legendary from 14, and she reads, Ishtala doesn't receive any damage from summons or abilities, and she has an ability, put Ishtala into the break zone, choose one summon or auto ability, cancel its effect. Now, I heard from Murad that you really don't like this card, Josh.
So at first, I thought it was really, really good. Then I thought, it's not too great because it's just kind of a 3-drop 7k, and like, what are you really doing with it? Like, I don't want to cancel an effect like Setzer because then Setzer's become a 5 CP forward that deals 7,000 damage to one of my forwards. And that's a really good forward. I found that it was actually kind of hard to remove from the board. Which meant that it just kind of sat there. And then I could hold off on the ability until the very last turn of the duel, when their ability would say, stop lethal. So you would play like an Adelle down or something, or an Illua, and then play a Ishtola. And the Illua can never be killed with an Ishtola on the field. It's just not happening. And then same with the Adelle, you can kind of let the first one die, but you have protection now for your second one. So it actually turned out to be a lot better than I thought it would be. Because I thought you would just kind of play it. Your opponent would just sort of ignore it. You wouldn't really get to use it.
That first line of text is what makes me worry about this card.
Yeah, it's a really safe play.
That's what makes it strong.
Most decks. And because it's resilient, the second part is actually relevant, I think.
Yeah, exactly, because then she's likely to live until it's needed. Unlike the white mage we were talking about earlier, where your opponent can force you to have to use the effect. The Ishtola is actually kind of hard to force the effect out.
Yeah,
it's only like Seymour and Idea.
Mine and Kevin's games usually come down to, like, we might get a few points of damage in first, but because we're both playing like a control-y sort of style, then it usually comes down to, like, we get the board and then it's just like one breakthrough summon sort of thing.
Yeah, one turn where then, the game just ends.
On either side. Like, if I might be breaking my own Manoa with like Shiva or something, he could be soldiering me, who knows. So then she'd be so good at just stopping that critical summon. Or auto.
Exactly.
And even other than that, she just puts a hard cap on the amount of value your opponent can ever get. And she is, with the Emperor, it's like almost a complete lockout on everything your opponent can do.
Yeah, like Diablos isn't very good if it's like Vanilla, right? Like,
No, it's a very good, like, almost any win deck.
Yeah, this is just like solid every win deck.
Yeah.
Well, not every,
and the thing I'm excited for is that it doesn't get damage from Shinto too.
Obviously.
What does she? So what does she not cancel that she also doesn't survive?
Death.
Specials.
EX bursts.
Yeah.
So special abilities and EX bursts.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Well,
it's just Idea, right?
Yeah. Essentially, it's just Idea. Gilgamesh.
Hecaton.
Ah, yeah. Hecaton. Gilgamesh special.
Divider.
Yeah,
Mecha Chocobo.
Mecha Chocobo. No, that's an auto ability.
Yeah, but she sacrifices herself.
herself, so I guess that.
So we give this a 5?
Like Twilight Odin.
Stuff like that.
You guys reckon we give this a 5?
Like, I think it's...
4, simply because...
Close to a 5. If it isn't a 5.
Simply because there's a bunch of other decks that want to play the other Ishtola. That's the only reason I can think not to give it a 5.
Yeah.
In that case, it's a 5, right? Because then you
think
ask the
so.
question,
Probably
why
a
are you
5.
running this? And it's like, because I'm
Probably
playing
a 5.
Ishtola.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so 5. So next card is The 4-drop Luso, 7,000 power. When Luso enters the field, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. Add one category FFTA2 card among them to your hand and return the other cards to the bottom of the deck in any order. When Luso gains first strike until the end of the turn.
So with this thing, it's really hard, and with Realm as well, to give it, to decide what goes into synergy rating and what goes into not synergy rating. Because you only look at the top 5, it's like, when you consider how much density of FFTA2 are you playing, how much are we going to consider just part of the card normally, and how much are we considering as, okay, now into synergy side of it.
There's a lot of, you get to run backups that are TA2, right, as well. So that, I think that makes it a little bit better.
What we've seen throughout this review is that a lot of the TA2 cards are just good.
I believe that Luso is my second favorite card in the set, second to Hurdy.
Okay.
So I think Luso is like literally like 5 every win deck.
Oh, no, 5, really?
You want to play the backup thief in every win deck anyway.
Yep.
And Adelle, you also want to be playing in almost every win deck.
Yep, that's like 6.
So then you've got the other Lusos as well.
Yeah, yep. So that's 8 if you play your first.
And then Mono Wind, you can pad it out with Chocobo Knights potentially, Elementalists and Rangers.
Yep.
In the dual color decks, Fire lacks a bit in terms of targets, but Lightning definitely has targets. It has the Illawa, that's the Cannoneer backup. It has the Search card for Luso,
that's a big
which you
one.
can use as well.
Sid of Kalangali. Yeah.
Ice has Hurdy, which you can potentially hit if you want to just get Mont Blanc for CP. But Ice also has, what's this called? Mateus, you can hit with it as well.
Mateus
I love
is
that it hits
really
Mateus.
So it hits like a lot in a lot of colors. It's just a really, really, really good card.
And if you have multiple in the top 5, you can choose exactly what you want. It's really strong, I think.
There are several games where I've been able to use Luso to dig for the second Illawa for lethal.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
And if it hits, it's better than the classic Steiner model.
Yeah.
As well, because it's a 4-drop 7k with I know it's with an ability.
Yeah.
So
there are also a lot of games where you're going to go 2 backups turn 1, then go Luso, and Luso finds you another 2-drop backup.
Yeah.
And then you're so far ahead. You play like a 2 CP 7k.
Yeah,
it's very efficient.
Such an oiled engine.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what the TA2 fire cards are. The only one that sticks in my mind is the Red Mage.
Paravir?
There's Red Mage, Ninja, the Paravia thing. There's a Black Mage forward.
Oh yeah, and there's Fighter as well.
Yes, there's Fighter. I believe there's one more maybe, but it can't be that good of a card if I can't remember.
Yeah, it's probably. So, tons of targets for Luso to
What
hit.
would we give this card?
I don't know though. You are putting it in, but
He's got synergy rating, definitely. Versus.
So I would say 4+1. If you really want to give it a 5.
Okay,
I think so.
4+2 has to be.
Oh no, that's a
Very few things get above 5.
That's.
But
I really
Does
think.
he?
Okay.
We think if we go above 5, like the idea is that the card is if you're in that element or that element plus another element, you are playing this card always.
That's what I feel about Luso.
Oh, okay.
However,
So you
We can make this the one prediction of Josh.
I might just be distracted by the fact that he's telling me that he's cool.
He's cool with
Yeah.
a blue background.
he's not telling you that he's cool. He's pointing at you. He thinks you're cool.
Oh. That,
He's an inspirational poster card.
It looks like he's just drawn a card in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Cool.
With those 2 fingers, they slip it between the 2 fingers.
So he's just like a 10 plus 5 or something.
Exactly.
I think the safest way to go would be to give him 3+2.
I think the base is really good. Because he's just better than Steiner, right? Well, if you're assuming he finds a target.
No, but like think about it
But
this
you have
way.
to
Right?
run
All
a
of
mass number of
and if we're assuming that that's the case, then he's a searcher. He's as good as a searcher. But in that
He's
deck,
slightly better than that.
which is where the +2 is.
So he's a searcher +2.
Yeah, searcher +2.
Yeah, I think
is what
maybe
I'm saying.
3+2 is exactly where it's at.
Which is again total cost, total rating of 5.
Which is still amazing.
For me, what makes me really hesitant to give it a really high score is because you do have to run that massive FFTA2. Once things are once FFTA2, maybe things are those slots are getting competed with. and things. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's not what we're in right now. Like they could actually very easily
Just-
be played
Yeah.
in Opus 5, and we're only really waiting for
Like
the
just
Opus
just
5
the
meta.
wind ones
Just
that we
look,
looked at.
just look at the wind ones. Exactly. All the FFTA2 wind cards we've rated exceptionally highly. Adelle and Thief have both been contenders for 4 and 5.
We
So it's not like you don't want to play FFTA2 cards in your deck and you're having to think about putting in a bunch of cards to make Luso playable.
even Elementalist we talked ourselves into liking, right?
Yeah, there was some potential for Elementalist. Ranger as well was was a star card.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we could give Luso the guest special rating.
The guest special.
I think each of the
Sure.
guests have had their one special card.
Sure. Now,
Luso is definitely the special card for me.
sure,
All
fine.
right,
4
all right.
plus 2 it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll be holding you to this.
Okay, next card. Jared, do you want to tell us about the next card?
It's Rex.
Tyrannosaurus.
He's a 4-cost 8k forward from 12, and his whole special ability is he dies, and it lets you play Varn. Because
No,
start
it
of
just lets
12,
you- play one card, yeah.
like the intro, the tutorial for 12 is you play as Rex,
Yeah.
And you
and
die.
then
Ah.
he's no longer in the game.
No.
And you play as Varn.
This doesn't say card name Van forward.
Oh.
Like the other one.
Oh.
When we get a backup Varn.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
We could,
I mean, so like it's a vanilla, like it's an on-card for 4-drop for 8k.
It doesn't break itself.
It doesn't break itself.
it's a card I just hope is it in the starter? Like it feels like this card should just be in the starter
I
deck.
don't know. It's a common.
I don't think it is.
No, it's just a common. I don't know. This kind of gives you like Divine Shield on your Varn or something, because you can just like, you know.
Well, sort of, because it's not Van while it's in
Yeah,
play.
it's not Varn. Yeah, but like, because the thing problem lots of people have with the 5-cost Varn is that it just dies. So either they're not removing this, or you get to play, or they waste the removal on this, and then you get to play the Varn. So
It's just a dude.
yeah, it's just a dude.
I would just
He's not particularly interesting. He's just
yeah.
meat.
So 2,
I'm happy with
Yeah,
that.
2.
2 plus 0.
Yeah.
2 sounds
But if you're worried about Una, you can go Deathgaze.
Okay, next card. Chris,
my.
what is next card?
Our next card is Leyak. It's a 1-drop wind monster from category 13, and when a forward opponent controls attacks, put Leyak into the break zone. If you do so, activate all the characters you control, draw 1 card.
So I feel like I've been saying this in almost all set reviews, but I don't like the ability of like putting the driver's seat in your opponent's.
This one I
thing.
really
This
like.
is like
but
Brave.
but this one is like an exception.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
this
yeah.
one's
Like,
more,
this-
much more interesting than the other
Yeah,
ones
yeah.
to play around.
Generally speaking, your opponents will be attacking,
And if they're not
this is all
attacking, you're
upside.
probably winning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But deactivating the backups pad is you're going to
Yeah.
have some specific cards to utilize the backups.
it's fine. I think
Diablos.
it means you can fully commit using all your backups and all your forwards to attack, and still have blockers and combat tricks that you can pay with backups.
What do you reckon,
this card's
Josh?
gonna be pretty good.
So this card's like, I don't know if it's worth it if it's going to make the cut.
Mhm.
Like, it sounds like a really good 52nd, maybe 54th card.
Yeah.
All I know is that in pre-release, I lost a game because I played this card. And my opponent attacked. No, sorry. Then main phase 1, my opponent played the Emperor and attacked. And I was like, so, you know, a bit biased was saying.
Which is funny because I won a pre-release because I had one big guy that was just attacking all the time, and I had a Leyak on board. So both sides of the coin here.
So yeah, that was that's not what I think is going to happen every time the card is played.
Yeah.
I don't really know how good it is. It's only really good towards the end of the game.
When you have backups to use
You've
for
got your full
resources.
Yeah.
complement.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what if it just gets removed?
I mean,
Like,
it's
from
fine.
cycle
It's just a
before,
one call.
It's okay if it gets removed,
Yeah.
right? But it's just kind of cycle in the early to mid game. Do you
yeah.
really?
Yeah, you generally want to be set up with forwards and backups before you can utilize it. But then I think it gives you a lot of safety. You can just commit to attacks and
You get to
not
so
worry.
like again, what brings him back? You don't want to be bringing it back with Sid Waff.
Yeah.
There are probably
That's a
more
bit-
interesting things to bring
Scion.
back with Gal.
In particular, sign up 7th Dawn.
Yeah,
Maybe-
Uri Anger.
Maybe with Urianjo.
Yeah, he still doesn't win, so...
Well, you don't even need I mean, Urianger just brings us back.
Yeah.
I think you want some one-drop monsters if you've got Urianger.
Yeah.
It's a shame the Wind Warrior of Light doesn't particularly synergize with your active characters.
Yeah, in your opponent's turn, true. But the difference between this and some of the other standstills is that this isn't terrible in multiples. You still get 5 backups back. So if you cast Diablos after they attack into you to kill 2 things,
that is also really good.
Yeah, that's really good. And if you play 2 of these,
if you got the 2-drop, you still down.
yeah, you can.
I think
I
think this is more an if you have space card, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
If you have space, it's a very good card to fill the space with.
So would it be a 3?
I think it's a definition of a 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like the idea of having each dollar in play and then dividing 21,000 damage because you've got 3 Liacs in play. That's very magical Christmas land.
But unfortunately, all they have is a Dadaluma. Or Shantoto. Even worse.
Yeah.
Okay, next card is Spice Sicilian.
Very spicy.
It's a monster, Terra Aquatic job. And Dell choose 1 for it. It can only be blocked by a forward of cost equal to or inferior to its own.
More unblockable.
More unblockables. It's just...
It's alright.
Yeah.
I mean...
That's like single target repeated Shimazai.
Yeah.
No,
It's an okay card. It's
Yeah,
not
you sort of need your deck to
particularly good. It's not particularly bad.
Yeah.
If we like Adelle, right, because of the unblockability every
I
turn.
think we only like that because it's completely unconditional.
Yeah, no, but like this is sort of along the same
Only if
vein.
you-
Adele has haste.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying that it's not apples to apples. This is a different kind of thing. I'm just saying you could make a deck with this and
I think
not
we
be
should
utterly terrible.
give it a 2 and move.
That's true. You can just kind of slap this into your low curvish wind deck, and it's not going to be a bad card.
Yeah.
Like with your Chocobos and your Rosanas and things.
Yeah, if you
It's
even
not
just
so
have
bad.
1 low cost forward, this can just milk some extra value out of it.
So, yeah, I'll like just a shred of 2.
And,
Yeah.
It also doesn't cost CP to use.
Just
So
alright.
if they remove the fragile forward, then it's like, oh well, I just dulled my spices.
From a wind fire perspective, those late game 2-drop Tifas you sometimes draw get a little less terrible.
Oh yeah,
That's true, yeah.
It makes your good early cards less terrible late game.
No, it's just I'm completely unsure how to rate that spice test. I mean, it seems just all right.
It's because it doesn't actually do anything on its own, right?
Yeah,
That's the
you need
issue.
something.
Yeah.
So next card, Josh, do you want to tell us about the next card?
Okay, Vaughn. It's a starter card from the FF12 starter deck. 4 CP, 8,000 power. When Vaughn enters the field, activate all the job Sky Pirate you control. Pyroclasm is S1 wind and dull. Choose 1 forward, deal it 2,000 damage for each backup you control. So, the first issue I have with this card is that there is a grand total of 1 Sky Pirate backup.
Yep.
No,
So
just
it's
friend.
Yep.
Yeah, 1. So
And
it's
there
not
are 2
particularly
other
strong.
forwards.
Yeah, both there and
There's
Fran.
an S.
Both your friends.
And
Redis.
Oh, Redis. Right.
Yes,
But if you have the friend
So-
forward, you can't have the friend backup.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So maybe it's decent in title format where you can have multiple ones that are Sky Pirates and multiple Bolthiers that are Sky Pirates.
Definitely.
But-
I was really sad how there's not more Sky Pirates in this set, but even without that, the S is so efficient.
Pyroclasm isn't exceptionally good. S, right? It's
Yeah.
1 wind, S and dull, and you kill a forward essentially.
Yeah. And since you win, you get up to like lots of backups really quickly.
Yeah.
You can, really fast.
See, this is one of the reasons I'm a little irked by Panello. Both Panellos not being Sky Pirates. Like, sure, she could be a dancer, but like they could have just put Sky Pirate on her. She hangs out with all these Sky Pirates.
Yeah.
Yeah, she could pick up the trade.
Yeah.
But other than just the S, the lackluster Sky Pirates, it's I still like it.
Maybe moving forward we'll get more eventually.
Yeah.
But
But
I think
at this point, I would just give this one, I don't know, 4,
4.
3.
I
The
think
S
he's
is very
a
good.
three.
Well, one.
Why,
Sorry.
really? No, because the S is very good, and the one drop Vine can be get back with Asura.
One drop.
No.
I think you'd much rather be playing the. We've talked about the 5 cost farm, which doesn't really go.
This card isn't going to see play in any constructed deck, right?
Yeah, because the Sky Pirates is really not supported at all.
Sure, yeah. Okay, then just two
wait,
then.
they will come up with a new Sky Pirate backup, but it'll be Van.
yeah. We're gonna get a Van back. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. They're gonna do that for sure.
They don't actually want to support this tribe. They just want to troll us with this tribe.
Yeah.
Every set, will there be more Sky Pirates?
Why does Panello have to have all your forwards be Sky Pirates?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not like there are enough Sky Pirates for her to be a problem either, right?
It says Sky Pirates or Pirates.
Oh yeah,
Oh my God.
Leela
and Faris.
and Van.
Oh my.
Pirate Van.
Van, the
So,
second most printed card outside of promos. I think he's second most printed card at 5 prints.
Who is?
So
Yeah, he
if
is.
you do want to play a Pyroclasm deck, you'll have no shortage of Vans.
Yeah, you can play a ton of Vans, but.
But anyway, so would you give this guy a 2 then?
Yeah, I'd say 2.
2 just because if it's in play, it can actually be impactful.
It is. Oh,
Putting
come
an
on. Yeah, the SS is good.
But
Okay.
I also don't like it very much.
Okay.
Hey,
Next card.
if you play it into an Ultimecia, he activates himself.
Next
You
card.
know what? You convinced me. I'm going to play that card now.
Yeah, here we go.
Let's
This is
see
a
if players
5-star
will
card.
Two
Here we go.
is still unplayable. It's
Yeah,
just
2
that
is
if
very
you
unplayable.
draw it, at least it can have some impact.
Okay,
All
so
right.
Jared, do you want to tell us on this card?
Sure, we have Balthier. Balthier is a 3-cost 7k. When he enters the field, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, add 1 job Sky Pirate from among them to your hand, and return the rest to the bottom of your deck.
So now you see the difference between this and Luso. You see, there are no Sky Pirates that you want.
No, there are not.
Yeah. So it's just search a card.
Exactly.
It's just look at the top 5, put them back.
What's his stats? How much does he
He's
cost?
3-cost 7k.
So he like if he does get a card, he's really good. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, if he does connect, he's not actually that
But
bad.
how many
but
Sky
no,
Pirates
his
are
cards-
there?
Well, most
Yes.
of them are called Balthier, right?
yeah,
And
most of them are
Yeah.
called Van. Yeah.
So can we just
Balthier doesn't even have an S ability. Like,
No.
just have S can't be. It could just have S doesn't take damage this turn.
Well,
for
S can't be
example. Just
blocked.
some crappy S ability.
Yeah.
Just to utilize the fact that you're so likely to hit a Balthier with it.
Yeah.
Balthier, I think we should rate the same as Luso, and that is Searcher Plus, because Searcher is a special rating because it relies so much on what its targets are. And then,
But this is a Searcher
and
minus.
it's plus because it's a 3-cost 7k
Okay,
with the searching
sure,
text.
sure.
So.
Yeah. If it were just
that's why I was so with
So I
Luso,
would just-
because
yeah.
it is so much dependent on the other cards around it.
I would, yeah. I'll still just give it a 3 then.
So I think Searcher.
This
Searcher
is
Plus
a
can be-
3 by obligation
can be
and
its
not
own.
by
Okay.
choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next card is the 2-drop Fran Forward, 5,000 power. For each drop Sky Pirate other than Fran you control, Fran gains 1,000 power. The card named Balthier you control cannot be chosen by your opponent's abilities.
So she can be a total of like 8,000 power.
Yeah. It's not, and like, having that ability on Balthier, I guess it's kind of cute, but in this kind of deck, you'd want to run the backup Fran.
Yeah.
He even
Right.
wants to target this crappy starter Balthier with effects.
Yeah.
Just let him.
Yeah.
Well, you
So
can-
this is-
you
You
can
have the
protect
other
your
Balthier.
legendary Balthier.
Yeah, this-
but,
the-
Sky
the-
Pirates make me sad.
There's not really much to say about this. I think you just give it a 2 and move on.
Not quite enough to talk about with them.
Yeah, there's not enough Sky Pirates, unfortunately. But anyways, really, really glad that you joined us, Josh. We had really lots of fun talking about all these wind cards. And having this conversation with a top tier FFTCG player is really cool.
Yeah,
and
it's been changed my opinion about a few.
I hope, yeah, I hope,
Confessions.
yeah, I hope the audience enjoyed it. And do you want to plug anything, Josh?
Not really, other than that. I'm likely to write something on my blog soon. As
Oh,
opposed
okay.
to
Well, where's your blog? How can listeners find that?
on the fans page when it goes up, you'll see it.
Okay,
Alright.
no worries. Just go there. And everyone want to say bye-bye?
Alright,
Right.
Thank you for having me. It was
Thanks
a
for
lot of
the
fun.
pleasure.
Yeah, we really enjoyed you having you being here. And yeah, number one potato boss out.